What's going on, everybody? King of Dragons 5000 here, coming at you with another figure review. Today we'll be having a look at the Hasbro Marvel Legends X-Men series Build-A-Figure Apocalypse Wave Sabertooth. Here we do have the Jim Lee inspired Sabertooth in the packaging, another figure I've been looking forward to. What we're going to do now is take a little break, get him opened up, and then we'll have a better look at Sabertooth. So stay tuned, everyone. And so here we have Sabertooth posed and out of the packaging. Before we have a look at the figure, let's actually take a look at his Build-A-Figure piece. Sabertooth does come with the left arm of Apocalypse, and we'll have a better look at Apocalypse when he's all put together. But for now, let's actually take a look at Sabertooth now. Unfortunately, Sabertooth here does not come with any accessories, although if you want to count his back fur as an accessory, you can, because it does come out. I really wouldn't consider it an accessory. He has no alternate hands, no alternate heads, which is a little bit unfortunate, but it is Sabertooth, and what are you going to really do besides giving him fists? I think he looks better with the claws anyway. So with the fact that he doesn't have any accessories out of the way, let's actually have a better look at Sabertooth. So here we have a better look at Sabertooth, and you can see they did a really good job sculpting the head. Now, one issue I have seen a lot of people have with Sabertooth is they're not too happy with the way the mouth connects to the head. You can see there's a seam line right here on his jaw, and he kind of does look like the Kraken from Clash of the Titans, but it's not too big of a deal, and from a distance you really don't notice it, so it really doesn't bother me that much. I think they did a really fantastic job on this head sculpt. It looks so much like the Jim Lee artwork, which is probably where I'm the biggest fan of X-Men. Almost anything Jim Lee for X-Men is an automatic buy for me. So this is a really nice figure in my books. His hair is really nicely detailed. There is some shading in there, which I think brings out a lot of the detail in it really nicely. His cowl is actually done really well. You can see the ears are sculpted really well. His mutton chops, again, have that same shading that his hair does. Eyebrows are really hard to detect, but they are there. His eyes are white with that red outline, so really cool. I love the fangs. Moving on to his costume, if we can just move the camera out just a little bit. You can see he does have this fluff going around his torso, and it is a separate piece. You can take it off if you want, but I'm actually going to leave it on, and I'm actually considering gluing mine on because I don't see myself removing this anytime in the future, and he just looks so much better with it on. I really do love the costume that they gave him, although mine does have some paint issue and some scratching right there. Some paint has bled over right here. If there's one thing I have to say, it's the paint on these X-Men figures is a little bit lackluster. You can see there's some paint here on his forearm. It's just not too clean. It's a little messy right here. Looking onto the back, there's really not too many issues on the back of his costume, so that's pretty good. Really loving the orange yellow that they chose for his costume. The brown is really nicely painted. You can see he has the stripes right here on his thigh, which look really good. They're clean. I love that. Although on this one, there is a little bit of scraping on mine, but it's really not that noticeable from a distance, so I'm not really going to complain too much about it. He does have some paint right here that doesn't belong there, but nothing some clear nail polish won't get rid of. And then we go on to his toes, which have the little teardrops painted on, which look really, really nice. So overall, he's a really nice figure, and they did give him his own parts. You can see his elbow does have the elbow spike. He has claws, which I think are a reuse from the original Puck wave for Sabertooth that we got many years back, which I never got. But they look really nice on this figure, and it's just really menacing looking. They use the Hyperion body, which I know some people say it's a really bad mold, but you know, it looks good for the most part. The only problem I have with it are his calves are a little bit too thick, but other than that, I don't have much of an issue with the way this figure looks. Maybe his head sits a little too high on the ball joint. If it sat just a little bit lower, I wouldn't be bothered by it. But when you have him posed, it's nothing that you won't notice. So with his details out of the way, let's actually get him compared to a few figures you may have in your collection. And here we have Sabertooth posed next to a Marvel Legends Cyclops and a Marvel Legends Deadpool. Here we have Sabertooth posed next to Venom and X-23. And finally, here we have Sabertooth posed next to the Jim Lee Wolverine, and you can see the scale between these two is really well done. Sabertooth is taller than Wolverine. In fact, he towers over him, which is the way it should be. So with the comparisons out of the way, let's actually have a look at Sabertooth's articulation. Now, Sabertooth here does have the same articulation you'd expect from any Marvel Legends figure. He does have a ball joint in the head, and I don't know, his head sits high on the neck, but it sits deep in the ball joint, so we really don't get a good up and down on that ball joint. We get some side-to-side tilt, which is pretty good. Rotation, which is always nice. His head does look back quite a bit. You can bury his chin into his neck. Yeah, it's not going into his chest, it's actually being buried into his neck. So that's pretty good. Arms on a ball joint go out to about that far. They do a full 360. They are a little bit hindered by this fuzz, his fur going around his arm, but you can actually move that in on itself because it is a softer plastic, so no issues really. He does swivel at the bicep. He is double jointed at the elbow, which gives us pretty good range there. He swivels and hinges at the wrist, no issues there. He has an ab crunch which goes back quite a bit, goes forward a fair amount, so as much as people hate this body mold, it does crunch forward quite a bit, and you really can't argue with how nice that is. He does swivel at the waist, no issue there. Legs go forward only to about there, go back, they go out quite a bit. He swivels at the thigh. He is double jointed in the knee, no issue there. Swivel at the mid calf. He has a hinge in the ankle which goes back and forward facing pin for rocker ankles. So overall, really good figure here for Sabertooth. So what we're going to do now is take a little break, get him posed for my final thoughts, and then we'll wrap up this review. So sit tight, everyone. So here we have Sabertooth posed for my final thoughts, and overall, despite this being a body that a lot of people complain about, I think it works perfectly well here for Sabertooth. The articulation is very good, and you can get him in a lot of posing that all those flaws about this body, they really don't matter, seeing as how he has a lot of neat little pieces, and when you get him posed, you really don't care about his proportions. So overall, this is a figure that you want to have in your collection, at least in my book. Now, I was lucky enough to get Sabertooth as well as the rest of the Apocalypse Wave at my local comic book store, so shout out to Asylum Comics for hooking me up with this figure so I could review it for you guys. If you do find Sabertooth in stores, I really do recommend you pick him up. If you're a fan of the X-Men, the Jim Lee art styles, Wolverine, Sabertooth, or just love good figures, this is one you want to have in your collection. He is going to run you about $19.99 with tax, so that's going to come out to about $22, $23. So that's pretty much standard with what you pay with Marvel Legends. So with that being said, guys, I'm King of Dragons 5000. Don't forget to like this video, leave a comment, subscribe to my channel. Go check out all my other action figure reviews as well as all my other Marvel Legend videos. Hopefully you find them informative. As always, if there's a figure you would like to see me review, let me know down in the comments, and if it fits in my collection, I'll definitely have a look at it. Until next time, guys, I'll see you later. Take care, everyone.